Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is an opportunity in your day to stop whatever you're doing and take a little bit of time to explore how to receive fulfillment in your life by unlearning struggle. So today I'm going to do a brand new topic on a brand new series, and it's entitled Release the Resistance that blocks you from what you want. And in preparing for this, I thought I'm going to come up with all of the different forms and faces and types of resistance that I see clients struggle with and really unpack it. And so far I've got a list of 6, but I'm going to keep the door open because sometimes I'll just get downloads for more, and I'm going to have a compilation of all of the different ways that we experience resistance, create resistance, and most of the time we don't even realize that that's what's happening. But as soon as we can see what we couldn't see, then entirely new things become possible. Hey Brittany, nice to see you. Thanks for visiting. So what I'd like to invite you to do is take a moment to think about something that you want. And just connect with what is it that has been your strategy or your approach to having this in your life. Most of us will approach these goals, dreams, and aspirations in what I call the hunter model of trying to manifest our goals and dreams. And that requires a whole bunch of doing, thinking, problem solving, and analyzing. So this is great up to a point, but when you're missing the being model of power that is a partner to the doing model of power, that skill set is the very thing that can help you dissolve your upper limits and make entirely other things possible that perhaps you couldn't receive before. So it's often this missing or malnourished skill, which is receiving, as opposed to getting. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, which is what's happening when resistance is occurring. So we're going to talk about a very specific type of resistance today that has to do with judgment, when we judge things as good or bad. Before I dive into that, let me just share, in case you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I mentor ambitious, goal-oriented people to surpass their limits with ease and speed. And the way that I do this is I illuminate blind spots, because I've discovered that ambitious, goal-oriented people, like myself, tend to have a very specific and unique set of blind spots that come from over-relying on the skill that we're really good at, which is doing, yet being malnourished or disconnected from the being skill. That doing skill set that we're so good at allows us to have a lot of success in our lives, but it also is the cause of our upper limits and can undermine our fulfillment when that's all that we have to rely on, the only tool in the toolbox. So we're going to illuminate the blind spot that comes from resistance created through judgment. All right, so before I go into the actual judgment resistance point, I need to paint a picture about what's happening and how this resistance occurs. So the first thing is we need to understand the difference between receiving versus getting. Okay, most of us approach our goals as I want to get the goal. So it could be anything. I want to get more money. I want to get a raise. I want to get the house. I want a relationship. I want to have a better body. So I want to get the weight loss. So it's very concrete and finite. And that's great if you have tasks that you want to complete. You're in task mode or project manager mode, or you're accountable for certain outcomes, and you know what it is that you want and how to go about getting it. But when there's other things that you don't know what it is that you want exactly, it's a dream, or you have mixed feelings about it, because a lot of times we have these dreams that we want, but we're afraid of success and we're afraid of failure, and there's all of these other things that arise, or we really don't have a clear image of it, and we certainly don't know how to go about it, then that doing model gets in the way. And then we need to open up to receiving as opposed to getting. Now, receiving is not finite. Receiving is about being open to the flow of life, the kindness life is always offering. I always like to make the distinction here that I didn't say that life is always kind, because life is not always kind. There is pain, there is fear, there is suffering. There's no question about that. However, when we don't know how to stay open to the kindness life is always offering, we suffer way more than we need to. So this is part of what is also related to the resistance. So getting versus receiving is a very important thing to understand, and receiving is something that moves through you. It's about feelings and experiences. It's like the majestic tree that doesn't hunt anything but stays open and receptive. And instead of as the hunter, where you're the provider, with receiving, life is the provider. Okay, so that's the first thing, the difference between receiving and getting. The second thing that's very important to receive more of what you want with greater ease and speed is this concept of space and spaciousness. I've just started teaching the Receive Experience. It's a 10-module program that teaches how to receive. And the first 2 modules are all about understanding the power of space. Because here's the thing about receiving. This is what receiving actually is. It's about keeping the space open by allowing flow to happen. So your awareness is a space. Your body's a space. There's many things in life that are spaces when we start to look at it through that lens. And when we know how to harness the power of space, when we really know how to keep it open so that flow can happen, then if something difficult happens, some sort of struggle, pain, or fear, yes, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And we know how to relate to it so that it can flow. And once it passes, the next thing can come in and the next thing. And it's about staying open to flow. And that's how we dissolve our upper limits. And things can come in that used to be stuck or the resistance was blocking the way. So the difference between getting and receiving, space is where it's at, and receiving is about keeping the space open so that flow and movement and abundance can flow through your life and through your experience. So with that as a backdrop, today's resistance that we're going to talk about is judgment. So what is judgment? Judgment, most of us think of it as, well, so-and-so is judging me or judgmental or something like that. But we want to look at it more deeply, like what's happening when we judge. So judgment is when you name or label something. The moment you name or label something, you've gone from experiencing that thing in your body with your feelings to being up in your head, okay? And the minute you now have conceived of a name or a label as a judgment in your mind, that's all it can ever be. You've just gone from being open and curious and receptive to, I know what it is. Furthermore, if you get into the traditional judgment that most of us are familiar with, where you're starting to categorize things as good or bad, then if you call something bad, that's all it can be. It doesn't matter all of the blessings that come with it. Your mind says it's bad. That's all you can receive. That's all you can experience. Judging something as good is not a problem because, good feels good, right? But when you label something as bad, then you've just limited what you can receive. So what happens? What happens is your awareness, your body, your life, your experience is this space. Now, you're going after something you want. Let's make it really concrete. Like, let's say you want to get 10 new clients for your business, right? So you come up with a plan, you've got a target, it's very concrete, and you take actions and you research and you really are focused like the hunter, right? Then things start to happen, right? So let's say you have a marketing plan and you execute the marketing plan, but then you don't get the clients that you thought you were going to get. So what happens? You start to judge that as like, oh no, this is bad. The marketing plan didn't work. I didn't get the clients. And so what happens is this space where you could be receiving all day long is now filled with, this is bad, so now that's all it can be. I got to problem solve, so now the space is filled up with problem solving and analysis, and you're in your head. And because hunting is very narrow focused, you've just put on blinders. That's all you can receive. But when you stay open and you learn how to suspend judgment, that openness is what keeps the flow going. And so you can look at whatever happened with the marketing, whatever lack of clients are that occurred, you can practice this willingness affirmation. It's one of my favorite affirmations. I use this all the time. So here's how it works. First, notice if you're judging. Just keep it simple. If you hear yourself saying, thinking, feeling something like, oh no, this is bad, stop. Notice and suspend judgment. You say, okay, the marketing didn't produce the result I wanted. This isn't good. It isn't bad. It simply is. I remain open and receptive to the infinite good that's here now. That's it. This isn't good. It isn't bad. It simply is. I remain open to the infinite good that's right here, right now. And then stay open, stay curious, and do what's in front of you. If you can suspend judgment, you can become receptive. You will be receptive to all sorts of other things coming in. I can't tell you how many times I've done this where I've had a marketing plan or an idea for a workshop and I thought it was going to go this way and it didn't. But then life provided clients and money from expected and unexpected sources. I mean, referrals, sometimes money came in. I've literally had money just show up in my mailbox that I didn't even know it was coming. It happens all the time. Once I started letting go of my attachment to where the money flowed. It didn't have to be from a client. It didn't have to be from a workshop. It didn't have to be through my business. I just let life provide. And it's been amazing what life has taught me about one source, yet infinite channels when it comes to money, to love, to well-being, to opportunities. It's about being open, open, open. So I'll give you one more tip about judgment, okay? Every event is neutral until you assign it meaning. If you can practice noticing when you assign meaning to an event that happens and catch yourself judging it, catch yourself saying, oh, it's this or it's that, where you're naming or you're labeling it, or it's good or it's bad, and you've now collapsed the possibilities into something very narrow. If you can practice awareness and suspend judgment, this isn't good, it isn't bad, it simply is. I remain open to the infinite good that's right here, right now. You've just released your resistance to the things that you want. You're practicing staying open. Just do what's in front of you, be curious, and just watch what you receive into your life. So that's my first tip of this series. I hope you like it. I'm going to share with you one willingness affirmation that you can use to support this. This comes from the Receive Oracle cards, which you can buy on Amazon. It has 56 tips for receiving wisdom with affirmations. This particular one is receive everything as sacred. And the affirmation is this: I am willing to discover how I can receive more and better by letting go of the fight. I am willing to discover how I can receive more and better by letting go of the fight. Whenever you are judging something, especially if you're judging it as bad, whenever you're labeling it, whenever you have a negative expectation and you just say, see, this is what I thought would happen, what's happening is you're actually fighting against life, and you're trying to force things to happen, which are not in your control. So we fight against the flow of life. We think things are supposed to happen a certain way, and then we judge them, and then we totally limit what we can receive into our experience. So when you start to shift from fighting and forcing to flow and openness, all things become way more possible with ease and speed. It's just so fun to watch my clients open up and see the things that show up in their lives. So if this was helpful, I hope it was. Please like, please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. Click the red subscribe button if you'd like to be notified each time I release a new video, and keep coming back for more Rise and Receives. I will be back with tip number 2 on releasing the resistance that blocks what you want. See you next time. Bye.